We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the Blues. We love you, what more can we say?
Welcome to the Tilton Talk Show, sponsored by Image Cleaning and in conjunction with Blues for All the way through February. Live broadcast tonight all over the Facebook pages at 7:30 till 9 and Tuesdays on Switch FM 107.5 and DAB across the wider area of Birmingham. Shea bags a brace and is now up to 21 so far for the season as Blues manage a late equaliser against Blackburn Rovers. 2 defendable goals, says we really should have taken all 3 points though. Bristol City away tomorrow, let's hope we can go there and bring the points back with us. And surprise, surprise, the FL have delayed the hearing for the potential points reduction until March due to someone sitting on the panel who has now declared after all this time, how do you possibly work on this for 9 months and all of a sudden the week of the hearing was supposed to take place think, oh, actually I can't do this because of such and such. I'm hoping the FL will hold an investigation into their utter incompetence. Guests in tonight are Colin and Blade from West Midlands Police Footballing Unit, and I'm sure we'll have an equally frank discussion as we did last time we welcomed them here. Well, it's Monday night, it's 7:30, so as always, strap yourselves in and get ready for the ride on the world's only Tilton Talk Show. It's what Monday nights are for.
We love you, what more can we say? We have the team that's tops here at St Andrews. They're gonna give us what we're longing for. It's Birmingham forever, let's hear it from the stand. So come on City, sing this song once more. We are the lads.
And it was, of course, a Tilton Talk Show with myself, Mr. Chris Pugh, Mr. Fun, the unlaughable man himself, Mrs. Brown, and Colin and Blade from West Midlands Police. Welcome to you, gentlemen, again. Thanks ever so much for coming out on a Monday night.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Good evening.
And that's the end of the show.
Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.
See you next week. Yeah. No, it's good having you guys back again. You've got biscuits, and Mr. Fun's also bought biscuits.
I can't believe it. At what point did you go out and buy biscuits?
What?
At what
I
point
sent
did
the
you
wife
go
out
out?
because, you know, I sent a tweet saying, I hope we get biscuits this week.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if I bought biscuits?
Oh.
And Colin
It'd be a
and Blade
miracle.
bought biscuits?
If anybody's short of any biscuits around the West Midlands area, pop along.
Okay, so to the weekend, 2 defendable goals, as I said. That one that went in straight from the corner really should have been picked out.
Yeah. I think it's disappointing, but I saw on Sunday, that's the 3rd time he's done that this season, scored direct from a corner. And he has got a ridiculously good set-piece delivery, Mulgrew. He showed it a number of times, caused a lot of problems. They could have got a couple of goals in the first half from free kicks, which he whipped in. So, yeah, I thought, you know, his overall performance was really impressive. And, you know, we couldn't afford to give away cheap free kicks and corners because, like I said, he's got arguably the best set piece in the division. Yeah. And as I say, so that 3 times he's done that this season. He's clearly pretty good at it, but so B, you know, contradicting myself, you should really, you know, work on that. You know that he's capable of it. You know he's got it in his locker. So you know that front post has really got to be sorted out. I think it was Duke on the front post, but you know it's a disappointing goal to concede. Yeah, but on the base of the whole 90 minutes, I don't think we deserve to win it anyway. But
no, as you know, I couldn't go to. I've got a family event on Saturday, so I was cooking for 15 people. So I did all day Saturday. Vegans and vegetarians and meat eaters. Oh my goodness me! I'd asked it every weekend. But fair result there at the end of it.
Yeah, I think just about. Yeah, first 20 minutes, if we'd have been 3-0 up, I don't think anybody could have complained. We started so quick. The intensity was there. You know, we tried to be direct. We tried to get the ball wide and forward as quick as possible. And Blackburn couldn't live with us. They didn't look. You know, they looked like a side that had lost their last 4 games on the trot. They didn't look confident. They looked tired and lethargic, and we were first to every ball, every second ball. And as I say, Colin had a shot which squirmed under the keeper and nearly went in. And if we'd have been 3-0 up after 20 minutes, as I say, I don't think anybody in a Blackburn shirt would have complained really. Then we just took our foot off the gas a little bit, and Blackburn had a half chance, and it seemed to galvanise them. You could see there. I think it was Smallwood, their midfield player, who was trying to galvanise his team and lift their spirits, and they ended the first half better. Their equaliser was deserved, and then, like I said, we made the substitutions, which made a little bit of an impact. But then they get the second goal, and to be fair, when their second goal that goes in, you think, oh, that's us done, But fair play to the boys again, resilience and determination, and commitment to keep going forward and not give in. And Che has dug us out of another hole again with an expertly taken goal to get us 2-2.
21 for the season. What's his worth now?
Well,
earlier you said £1 million a goal.
It's got to be more than that. I think his worth to Blues right now is 25 million. I think you start talking above 20 million, but you're looking for 25. He's 22. He's English. He's got 3.5 years left on his contract. He's happy playing for Blues. It's not like he's desperate to get away.
No.
He's happy in the environment he is. He scored 21 league goals this season. He's going to get better and better, and he's got the potential to get better and better. You have to be talking above 20 million, and I think you should be looking around 25.
Cool.
Personally.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of put another... 10
we
million
rejected... allegedly, we rejected 12 from Burnley in January. You're doubling that for me.
Cool.
If you want a true... if you're under no pressure to sell, obviously, there's some... If you've... Listen, we don't know what's happened. They could have told the EFL that in the summer we will sell him for this amount of money, and that will keep the EFL happy. We don't know if that's happened, whether there's been any discussions of that. But at the end of the day, if we're under no pressure to sell, if we're happy with the, obviously the finances of the club are an issue in terms of the wages that we're paying out, but there's no issue with the money that the owners have available to them. If we were under no restrictions, I'm sure the owners would be spending the money that they've got. So, yeah, 25 million.
Kev Kelly said, good evening, guys. Sad all this talk of selling Shea. Where's our ambition? I think it's ambitious to get 25 million for it.
You could be 8th in the Premier League and you'd be worried about selling your best player. There's ambition and then there's realism. You have to be realistic. We are not Man City. We're not gonna keep Che for the next 5 years unless we go up and we can say to him, we've got Premier League football to offer you. But I don't think we will. I genuinely would be stunned to see him. If he carries on anything like, then I'd be stunned to see him at Blues next year.
No chance.
Right, gentlemen, thrice verily welcome once again to the show. And really, the reports we had after last week was absolutely amazing. Some of the feedback was incredible.
Yeah,
and
it was.
We're a couple of weeks now away from the big one. Everything in place?
Yes. There's been a few tweaks. There's been a few changes. This game, as we discussed last time, is the big challenge, purely down to geographical layout of St Andrews.
Yeah.
At Villa Park, I think...
Did you say it's doubly difficult?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's purely with the layout of the ground.
Yeah.
If you look at Villa, personally, I think it's been cracked. I really do. You speak to Blues fans, you listen to them, and they say they don't see a Villa fan all day long, apart from inside the ground.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I'm sure Blade will agree, it was his hard work at the Villa as much as anything of those plans. It's cracked it, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is.
It's a lot better.
It's a lot better. Don't get me wrong, there's still times there could be disorder there, but it really is. You look at the last couple of years, and the plan is in place at Villa Park. is brilliant the way it's done.
Yeah.
As I say, the layout of St Andrews, the layout of the roads around it makes it very difficult.
But then again, if numpties didn't want to crack each other over the Swede or something, we wouldn't have the problem, would we?
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Straight out of it.
No, it's
You're
right.
right, it's right.
It's
yeah,
right.
yeah, it is. But
Are they football
That's not-
fans, or are
Yeah,
they just
they're
thugs using
just for a
football
scrap,
as a vehicle?
yeah,
That's a difficult one to answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It's one of those. It's a minority. We know that. It really is a small minority who want to get involved in disorder. But I think on Derby Day, especially against the Villa, more of those people come out. For whatever
Steve
reason.
Portman from the Disabled Supporters Group said it was so much better at Villa, so much better. So even from the disabled supporters' point of view.
Yeah, Blade will
Yeah.
probably explain about the disabled supporters.
Yeah, we worked hard with the disabled supporters. We invited them in prior to the fixture at Villa Park.
Yeah.
We showed them some of the places where they could sit, which would be beneficial to them and better, really. And
were they opposite the Blues fans? Directly
some
opposite
were,
the
but
Blues fans?
some ambulant disabled fans were in with the Blues fans.
Okay.
But what we did was, because we netted off the first two rows, we decided to put them in there, so they were a little bit protected as well from any
Right.
celebration. But also they can enjoy the atmosphere in with their own
Yes.
fans as well.
Yeah.
So it was a lot better.
Paul Hipkiss wants to know, how did they manage to get a cabbage into Villa Park?
Well,
That's a question I want to ask. I want to know as well.
yeah, I have
Well, it
no
wasn't
idea.
found growing at the back of
I think
the...
that's probably a stewarding issue rather than a police
yeah.
issue.
Yeah, I know, but I think Paul's doing a little bit tongue-in-cheek on this one. As he's put a lollipop, I think, and a smiley face on it.
Yeah.
A
cabbage.
and a smiley face, yeah. Echo! Welcome in. Everything's your fault, Chris. Yeah, I mean, a cabbage, though, I mean, it's not easy to... I mean, you can't put it under your hat. Pregnant woman, perhaps? I don't know. I really don't know. But...
We've all seen the standard of stewarding and standard of
Yeah, I was just
searching
gonna
all
say,
around
yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
And that's not a criticism of Villa Stewards, not a criticism of Blue Steward, but wherever you go around the country, you get a completely different service of search. Let's be honest, a completely different level of being
Absolutely.
searched, don't you?
And is a cabbage on the list of prohibited articles to take into the stadium?
Good question.
Which
Good
I know
question.
very well it isn't.
Technically, you could say I'm part of the catering staff, and I need to get it into hospitality.
We have had at Aston Villa 2 persons come with 2 bottles of brown sauce, and when the steward said, "Why have you got 2 bottles of brown sauce?" he meant, "Because I was in Tesco just, and they were 2 for 1, and I couldn't." So,
I wanted
go
some
then.
with cabbage.
There you go.
yeah.
Bargain hunters. Jez McDonough says West Bromwich Albion versus Villa is a 3 p.m. kick-off on a Saturday, yet it kicks off with Albion fans setting fires in the loos. But yet we have to play on a Sunday at 12 o'clock with a cap of 2,000. He says it's a joke. Would you like to clarify?
Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, the reason it was at 3 o'clock is because that was when it was scheduled. TV didn't come in for it.
Yeah.
Both clubs requested it. Why not?
So does that sort of sums up the point you guys made on
Yeah.
the last time you came in, that actually your whatever you can recommend something,
Yeah.
but actually it doesn't hold sway if the clubs are happy with it 3 o'clock on a Saturday,
Yeah.
then they will have it 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Exactly.
So I mean, I don't know if you recommended that it would be at 12 o'clock at some point on a Sunday.
Not at all. We didn't recommend it. It just came in. We looked at what it would be, and we said we've got nothing really to appeal against it.
Yeah.
If they'd have asked for a 5:30 kick-off on a Saturday,
Yeah.
we've got previous history of a 5:30 kick-off at Villa against West Brom, where
that
we
the
would have
cup?
in the cup
Yeah.
game, where we would have been able to say, no, we've tried that once. Look
Yeah.
at what happened.
Yeah.
Do you say no or do you advise no?
We'd advise no. We say we say no, but it's not our decision.
But if it's a
ultimately.
5:30, the chances are it's going to be TV.
Yeah.
So the clubs have got to decide: do I take the TV money or do I listen to the advice of?
And it's always going to be TV money
Yeah.
because the increase in
Yeah.
police resources is like pittance compared to
how much you're getting
from the
Yeah.
TV.
But I think we said it last time. I don't think people understand how much TV get involved in these games. Both
Yeah.
teams can agree on 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Well, as supporters, we
Oh
do.
yeah, and you look, you look at some of the games which are moved to Friday night, Saturday night.
Norwich away on
exactly.
a Friday night recently.
Just after Christmas,
yeah.
Norwich away. Let's be honest, no consideration for the travelling fans at all.
No.
Even the Carling Cup final, we went down there. Was it 5 o'clock kickoff?
4, I think.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I couldn't get back home.
But
I
as
bought train
I say,
tickets and I couldn't get back home.
and this is the thing that both clubs can say, right, 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Suddenly, these TV companies, you've got to understand, work on 5-6 weeks scheduling. That's all. They don't work on. They don't come to us when the fixtures come out in June and say we want to move a game next April, for example.
Yeah.
They literally 5 weeks notice.
Yeah.
And when you're talking significant resources, that's a big thing. But Blades explained it much better than I can. You know, if the two clubs come to us in the summer and say 3 o'clock on Saturday, like Villa and Albion have done.
So really, the main factor of Blues Villa predominantly being a Sunday 12 o'clock kickoff is because by and large it's going to be on the telly.
Well, and both clubs have agreed to that
the
date.
best option for both clubs.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Interesting question here from Nick Glynn. What difference does 12 midday kickoff make from a factual rather than a we think or we always have perspective?
No, I think it's an always have perspective, I really do. And I think if we look at licensing laws over the years, let's be honest, a pub never opened before midday, did it, on a Sunday?
No.
And I'm sure this is anecdotal stuff, isn't it? If you think you couldn't get a beer before 12 o'clock now, pubs open at 7 o'clock on a Sunday. So I think any arguments that people used to have, there'd be less disorder because there's less time for drinking, doesn't hold
You just have
sway.
to get up earlier.
You do. And if you look at
the earlier train,
what we do, all the pubs around St Andrews have to apply to open early on match day. And they're applied to a licensing.
So that's a temporary event.
Temporary events notice.
A 10.
Come through to the police. We object to none of them. They open at 8 o'clock. And if you know what I mean. But if you went into a city centre, I'm sure you could find at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And in years gone by, that would never have happened. Sunday licensing laws were the strictest thing around, weren't they?
Yeah.
So a lot stricter in Wales, weren't they, then?
Yeah.
As well, yeah.
And I think that really is an anecdotal thing regarding pub opening times and the drinking times, which now doesn't hold sway, does it?
What we see with an early kick-off on a Sunday is our police operation is lengthened. I mean, we're still on duty 10, 11 o'clock on the Sunday night.
Right.
So because of the threat after as well, So what it does, it just elongates our policing operation, really.
Yeah.
So,
We've had disorder. The last 3 Blues Villa Blues derbies at 7:30 on a Sunday night.
yeah.
You know,
It's still
that
been-
is 12 hours after we first come on duty. So we've got to have resources on throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing people don't realise is, like I said, it makes our day even longer. We're working 15, 16 hours.
So you'd prefer a 3 o'clock kickoff then?
Yeah, for me personally,
On a personal level.
As a personal level, I prefer
On a Saturday, on a
3
Saturday,
p.m.
Let's be honest, that's when football should be played.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be played at 5 to 8 on a Saturday night.
Sky.
should it?
Yeah.
No.
Blame Sky. Blame BT.
You know,
blame Sky.
But I say the clubs need to come forward that suggestion to say, like Albion and Villa did, 3 o'clock. But if you look, Blues, Albion Blues, Friday at 7:45, 8 o'clock this season.
Home and away, they've
Let's
been
be
Friday
honest,
nights,
you know, again, that wouldn't have happened in years gone by,
No.
but at all. And, you know, both times Sky have come in and those games take place on a Friday night.
Interesting question from Mark Ward. Why do people feel the need to get absolutely leathered to watch Blues anyway?
It helps.
I think you've just had it in 2 words, Mark.
If you went to Bolton last Tuesday,
Martin, you've just had it.
I would
in
like
2
to have
words.
been laddered then. Another chance for you to dispel a myth that you dispelled on the last show as well. Kevin French has said, if Villa Park has been cracked, why do we still only get 2,000 tickets?
Well, for the West Brom game last year, all high category fixtures were capped at 2,100.
Yeah.
Millwall, Bristol, and Blues was all capped at 2,100.
Any others, or was it just
Wolves
those
was
Just those 3. No, Wolves was because Wolves was a Cat B, so it wasn't even a Cat C.
Right.
So Wolves was a Category B fixture, wasn't classed as a high risk fixture.
Okay.
So all those were capped at 2,100. This year we've gone with West Brom and we've increased it to 2,350. So the allocation for West Brom was 2,350. Now for me, I'd like to see the club offer that to Blues next season.
Okay.
And I've got to say, for me, that's it. But it's not my decision.
Yeah.
Okay. I can say I support it, and I think that we should be looking at it, but it's not my decision.
Is that the next bracket down? After high category, the next bracket is 2,350.
Well, no, it was basically instead of going 2,100 for a high category, we decided to try 2,350,
Okay.
and we tried it on West Brom to see how it worked. It worked really well, I've got to say. So I'd be pushing for it for Blues next season.
And I think from a Blues perspective, safety officer wise, we've discussed this last time. Blues are happy to offer 2.5, 2.6 previously, but both clubs have to agree it. It's
And
completely unfair,
you said
isn't
it's
it?
right at the start of the season that they agreed to.
Yeah, it
costs,
is. When the
don't
games
they?
come out,
Yeah.
it's completely unfair for one club to give 500-600 more tickets than the other, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and I know the other big argument which I've heard.
And yet the
is-
crazy thing is, we've got 5,600 tickets for Preston away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is
5,600 is a phenomenal amount of Birmingham
which
tickets.
is their
It's
away
probably-
allocation they
is.
give at Preston.
It's
Yeah.
it's
You
a
know?
little bit different because that's the whole end
It's
beyond
the whole
Yeah,
start,
and obviously
isn't it?
Villa is the side stand, but yeah, I mean, a little bit unfair. One side offering 500 more than the other, but considering the difference in attendances, would that not outweigh?
I've seen that question quite a few times. Am I down about the percentage?
Yeah,
on it?
yeah,
Because Villa
yeah.
Park's bigger than St Andrews.
Yeah.
Should there be
It's not nice.
Yeah.
a larger percentage?
But it doesn't work like that in respect to the league allocation either. They'll
Yeah.
say that you've got to offer a minimum of 2,000
Yes.
or you've got to offer
It's actually
a
just
minimum of
numbers,
3,000. It's
whether
just
you're
a
at
number.
Bournemouth or Villa Park.
Yeah, and that's it. And to be fair, I don't know what the answer is, but we're trying to push the allocations up with the good behaviour of Blues fans at Villa Park year on year.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Let's get them up there really.
Yeah.
So.
And that's something that's shown over the last
Yeah,
few visits.
the last few visits that we've had no problems
No,
whatsoever with the away
behaviour of
fans.
the away fans at all the games has been
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It really has. And I think the next step is both
Keep
clubs
it
to agree
Keep it
that
up,
higher
keep it up.
allocation.
Keep it up, all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's I'm just going to come on to this, about behaviour and stuff. A few facts and figures for you. Last season, home and away, 115 Birmingham City fans were arrested. Highest in the country by a long way. You can probably imagine those numbers. This season, just 20 so far. That is a huge decrease. At home this season, just 5 Birmingham fans arrested. 93% reduction, which is incredible. Let's be honest. It
Well,
really
all,
is. Yeah, it
everybody,
is.
yeah, yeah,
It is.
all.
You know,
Goosebumps on that one.
yeah, but that's a huge reduction
That is
from
massive.
where we were last season.
Whereas
I'll put
I've
that
seen
down to-
whereas I've seen an increase.
Yeah,
I've seen an increase in arrests at home and away fixtures,
Right.
mainly home fixtures for Aston Villa
And I
fans.
think from a Blues point of view, people correct me, I'm sure, I think a lot's down to the good form of the team.
yeah,
It is, yeah.
The performances of the team, even if they're
Yeah.
not winning, they're playing a lot better. than they were.
Same-
If you look this time last
the other
year,
side, yeah.
deep in relegation trouble,
Yeah.
and
Hated
couldn't,
the manager
and couldn't
Yeah.
buy a win.
Well, look at the last 8-9 years.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we've been downtrodden, constantly
Yeah,
downtrodden.
and now it's some of the best football down there in years.
Yeah.
They're on the sort of the edge of the playoffs, and I think that makes a huge difference to
I know the
behaviour.
Blues could be on the edge of the playoffs and have the EFL on their back.
Yeah, but and I think it makes a huge difference the way the fans behave and everything
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely,
But 93% reduction. That is
especially at home.
At home,
like
that
you
is
say,
huge.
because last season you had a deep. A lot of people were deeply angry with
Yeah.
with the players and the management and everything, and
because
it
of that,
can boil over.
we've dropped categories. We've dropped police resources off a number of fixtures this
Yeah.
season.
It was a lot there against Bolton the other night.
But no.
Stewards.
Oh, Stewards.
Stewards,
maybe.
Stewards.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I was going to say
Police. We had
that's
7
that's
police
something
officers on duty.
That's
against
something
Bolton
I've
night.
noticed as well.
That's credit to Blues, actually.
It is.
isn't Seven.
Because
Seven
if-
police officers to police that.
Yeah, because if you think
That's 24,000, wasn't it?
we
Just under, yeah, I think.
each time we drop resources, that means those officers can go back to doing normal police work
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
proper police work, as
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people would
A
say.
question coming a little while ago from Kevin Kelly, and it's not Birmingham related, but what do Blade and Colin think to the 3 knife deaths in Birmingham, one sadly again today, in the last 7 days? Where's the policing gone? Well, you could just answer part of that, couldn't you?
Yeah, we have
After the
we have
games.
got other priorities than football. That is a huge priority at the moment for West
Knife
Midlands
crime,
Police.
it's right,
So say,
I
you
don't get
know,
it.
by reducing resources on football fixtures, they can go back into looking at
Yeah.
incidents such as that, the reassurance in those neighbourhoods and things like that. And I say the other thing, reduce policing numbers. means a reduction in police bills for Birmingham City as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
keep,
so-
keep it good work,
Which,
people.
yeah, and again, this is with an increase in attendances as
It
well. You know, which again is credit.
It's got to
and
be
it-
up
but-
2,000-3,000 probably on last
yeah,
season.
Yeah,
But I say those reductions are huge, and from my point of view, that's good news.
Yeah.
Less police officers on the football, back to their proper work, as people always tell us. But I say, and that's another reason to start looking. You know what I mean? You increased allocations
Yes.
and things like that with the clubs.
Yeah.
Kev's also said, Nick, is that alcohol-free beer you're swigging? I don't want you to get pulled by the constabulary. Will you please confirm that says 0.0 alcohol?
It does.
It does, yeah.
Bavaria. Very nice as well. There are other brands.
Make sure they eat those biscuits, will you?
I'll eat everyone.
I don't want to see a biscuit left.
You imagine what the conversations would be like. Yes, definitely alcohol-free beer. So everything's in place then for the big day,
Yeah, there's been a couple of tweaks.
which are
The original plan was, well, whatever happens at the moment, Villa fans will not be held back at the end of the game.
right.
If you go back on the last couple of games, Villa fans were held back in.
Don't you think that's a
Yeah.
sensible move to do that?
Well, we'll come on to
It
that.
was for the last couple of games, but we're hoping that with the plans that we've got in place now, that's
This
it
is sort of-
negates
Is
that.
this all down to why
Yeah.
half of the roads are closed around there?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a god bottle. I don't know where to go.
The issue,
The same car parking space for 30 years.
the issue was with the holdback. A holdback, let's be honest, should be 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I
No.
don't
I
think
wouldn't have a problem with it.
no, but when it's 90
You're not
minutes,
being held back.
But if I was being held back, I wouldn't have a problem with
But
it.
it-
But 90 minutes, I
which
mean,
is what it was last
that
season.
was just
90 minutes.
That's
yeah,
what it
it
was.
was 90 minutes,
Unacceptable.
unacceptable.
And that's
Yeah,
because of the
right.
disorder on the Coventry Road between Birmingham fans and the police.
That's how my phone got broke. I was waiting for a burger.
Yeah, and it's whatever you say. Nobody should be held back in a football ground or not be able to leave for 90 minutes.
No.
It was
And
longer than the game
It
on,
was,
to
and
be
some of the
fair.
levels
It
of
was
disorder at the
ridiculous.
end of the game. Officers were attacked with scaffolding poles.
We had an axe thrown through the front windscreen of a police van. I mean, who takes an axe to a football match?
You know, and that was the reason. But saying that, so the plan is this year.
How
is
did
that-
they get an axe in and out? All right, so I'm not being
I
funny.
don't know if it wasn't in the.
No, it was
No,
outside
yeah,
the ground, but
right,
it was
no,
thrown.
it's not.
But
Yeah, yeah,
we,
yeah.
had,
They've got it.
we had an
Right.
axe thrown through the windscreen of
I
one of
suppose
the
you could randomly
carriers.
find an axe in the street, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But as I say, so the plan is this time, no holdback for Villa fans, and Villa fans will be exiting from Emmeline Street, which, as you know, hasn't been used in years and years and
Yeah.
years. But Villa fans will come out of Emmeline Street,
That's at the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Out the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the coaches.
The plan is to move the coaches round during the second half into
So
St Andrews
they'll be
Road.
dropped off into the car park.
Yeah,
as
before
well.
the
normal.
game, there's no change whatsoever.
Right.
Because Emmeline Street hasn't got turnstiles.
No.
So clearly,
course, yeah.
for safety, you have to have turnstiles. Yes, you may have 2,100 tickets, but you've still got to check how many people
Yeah,
are going in.
yeah.
So you couldn't get
Well, it's
them in
all-
through
everything's
Emmeline
bar
Street.
scanned now, isn't it? I mean, couldn't they have handheld bar scanners
Thing is,
there?
if they
We've asked that question.
If they
go
break-
down, there's no backup
Right
to the
level,
backup.
yeah, okay.
at the moment, the turnstile is the main one.
Yeah.
If the turnstiles go down,
Is
you've
the
got
handheld.
handheld scanners.
Yeah.
You've only got handheld
Got
scanners. There's no backup.
Yeah.
We've looked into this already, as you can tell.
They do their job.
Yeah, so say Villa fans
Burning the dosh, lads and girls.
Villa fans will be dropped off as normal on the coaches, however many coaches it is, into the away end. Coach will be moved round as Blade says into St Andrews Road
Yeah.
during the fixture, hence the parking restrictions. Where the school is,
Yes.
along
Yeah.
there, depending on the number of coaches, hence the restrictions in that area in relation to parking.
Okay. So, fans coming out of the Tilton and the main stand and the Gilmerry Cuppa, will they be allowed to walk out?
They can,
past the club shop on the main stand side and down that road.
the
towards-
Coventry Road at the
Yeah,
end of the
the
game
Coventry Road will be all
will
Birmingham
be
City.
completely
Right.
open.
Okay.
There'll be no access into Kingston Road, which is the alleyway by the burger van. You know, the
Yes.
small on the right.
Yes.
There'll be no access there because clearly Villa fans are coming out from Emmeline
Yeah.
Street. But all the Cattell Road, Coventry Road will be open.
Okay.
So if you're sat on the main stand side,
Yeah.
probably affects people a little bit more, but access from the main stand is still either back onto Tilton Road, out onto Garrison Lane, through the car park,
Yeah.
St Andrews Street. Now the initial plan was that St Andrews Street would be closed at the end of the
Okay,
game for a short period of time, 10-15 minutes,
Whilst we
Villa
got rid of the
fans
coaches
Into
and
the
the
coach.
However, concerns are raised by the safety team at Birmingham City, which they're perfectly entitled to do. It's their event at the end of the day. And they believe, due to the numbers leaving main stand, upper and lower Gilmerrick, which all come out onto top St Andrews Street, there could be issues there. So that plan was been changed. So St Andrews Street will have no restrictions on it at all.
Oh.
So those fans in upper, lower Gilmerrick, main stand, can go whichever they want.
Can walk all the way down St Andrews Street to the Country Road.
Well, they can go down St Andrews Street, but when it meets St Andrews Road, they can only go into Sarah Street on the right. Okay, which then takes them through to
Lower Dartmouth,
and Garrison Lane.
Okay,
That's just because where we take the coaches, we'll take them onto the ring road and across. If Blues were coming down, that would become an issue. Whereas we'll have lots more police resources in Garrison Lane to deal with that. So it just creates a breathing space to get away fans away. Really.
I had a tweet off Jack Colley here. Says, excuse me, saw the representatives of ECF Police on. Can you ask what fans or families with elderly members who struggle to walk to the ground so have to use Kingston Road? Where should we park because closing off so many roads is ridiculous? Well, we've just gone through the reason that we're closing.
That's
off
the
so many
reason
roads.
why.
But where do people park on? You know, there's not like an elderly drop-off, really.
No, I know there's limited disabled parking at the ground, isn't there? But my understanding is quite a waiting list for that anyway.
Very, very limited.
Arthur Street, there's no restrictions in place, which is as close as Kingston Road. It's opposite. And then the back of Arthur Street, Bolton Road, round there, sort of back around there. The problem is, like any football ground,
you're going to have to get there early, aren't you?
Parking's an issue.
Yeah.
You know, I know many times before it's been discussed, and not so long ago before, we're talking about residents' parking schemes. How many away games you go to, and you can't park within 2 miles. Go down to London, you can't park anywhere near. Is there one at Villa Park round Villa?
We do have a residents' parking scheme, but it's on Brookvale Road and around the top end, really.
I do have great sympathy with, you know, the elderly, those disabled, etc. But it's for one game. It's not a plan which will be used week in, week out. And we've got to try something different. We can't have the large-scale disorder we had last season. We can't have away fans being held inside the ground for 90 minutes. So I say it's a different idea.
We've got to try it. At the end of the day, when we tried the Villa Park, everybody poo-pooed it and said it'll never work. But then everybody says, oh, it's great now. And what we're seeing at Villa Park is, for that game, we never saw women and children, we only saw them in small numbers. Now we're getting quite a few because they feel safer to come back for that fixture. Hopefully, this is what it may do to Blues as well.
We've already discussed it.
Well, I've already made a conscious decision to go in the GM upper, so now I've got to come out and then down and then down anyway. So.
There's a guy at my work who's 2 sons. He's got 3 sons. His 2 eldest sons normally go with a family member. He's got 2 season tickets, 1 adult, 1 child, and the kids share the season ticket. He's already said that he won't let the kids go to this game,
and that's not right, is it?
But if you're the plans that you're trying to implement help people get back to the game, then it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
It is, we've already discussed, you know, in the office and everything, for the game at Villa Park next year. I'd like to think we could significantly cut police resources on it. And that's the stage we need to get to for the game at St Andrews as well. And at the moment, sadly, after the scenes last year, we're a long way away from cutting police resources. So we've got to try something different. And with the Villa fans coming out of Emmeline Street at the same time, I'd like to think any restrictions will be in place for 10, 15 minutes. You only need to get rid of 2,100 away fans. We're not talking trying to get rid of 10,000 fans. However many coaches there'll be, we'll get rid of those. I'd like to think within 10-15 minutes, any routes which have been restricted to fans will be lifted, as long as there's not disorder.
Getting out of there is always an issue as you go down the hill. That's the way I go down to the garage at the bottom, it can take you 20, 25, 30 minutes just to get round that corner, and then obviously you've got all the traffic. So is there any contingencies in place for that area?
We've asked for road closures at Big John's Island and water in Owl Island, because we're going to block the carriageway so we can take
you
the
can get the
coaches
coaches out
the
quickly,
wrong way up. Once
Okay,
they've
I'm
gone
with you,
the wrong side of the carriageway and onto the island and
Okay,
gone up the normal way, once they've cleared, traffic will be allowed to free flow again.
Okay.
But obviously we've got so if we have 1,000 or 1,500 Villa fans on coaches, we then got 600 Villa fans on foot that we need to take down to the bottom of Kingston Road, cross them over the carriageway, onto Waterlinks and up towards
Yeah, the
Garrison.
easy solution, don't you? Oh, the Blues fans back for 10 minutes.
Well, it was one of the ideas was to restrict access on the Commentary Road, so as in Villa fans would come out the normal away entrance if you want,
Yeah.
and to block access
Straight out,
down
straight
the
out.
Commentary
You'll have to
Road.
go around the Tilton.
But speaking with the club and somebody who's worked there many years like myself now, they reckon around 10,000 fans come down the Commentary Road.
Yeah.
That is a huge number,
Yeah.
and that's why that plan would never work.
Yeah.
10,000 is a massive number.
What I'm saying is hold the Birmingham City fans back in for 10 minutes.
You try-
Get you Villa fans on the coach and get them gone.
You try holding the Blues fans back if we've lost 4-0.
The thing is, everything's result dependent. As
I was
well.
going to say,
let's be honest. And we,
And if say we're 4-0 up with 10 minutes to go, I'm sure Villa fans will
want to go
streaming
straight
down
away.
So the,
Yeah.
the problems might be not as bad as we thought, because
Yeah.
they'll be on the coaches
Yeah.
at full time. If
we've always said there's two things we can do nothing about: the weather and the result.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, and they play a big part.
they do. They play a massive part.
For the West Brom game, we saw it. We did the same for what we do for the Blues game at the West Brom game. We hold fans back at Whitton.
Yeah.
Whitton, before Whitton Station, let the West Brom fans get on the trains, and then it's not a hold back. We're denying them access to the train station until we can get rid of the West Brom fans.
Yeah.
So, and then once they're on, we release the road, and then they go down and
Yeah.
can move. They can find alternate routes if they need to.
Yeah.
They're not being held in
Hence
one
not a
location.
holdback.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not a holdback. It's just a denying them the use of that road
And that's
for
the
that
same
time.
as at Blues. You know, you can come out sort of St Andrews Street. You can go out back onto Garrison Lane.
Yeah.
There's alternative routes. It's not like they're going to be told you can't. There is nowhere else to go. There
Yeah.
are alternative routes. And as I would say, yes, it will cause some inconvenience, but it is for one game.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Jez McDonald's just said, why don't they let the cabbages out the back end of the row? That's what you're going to do, isn't it?
Yeah, Emmeline
That's
Street.
exactly,
Yeah.
that's exactly what
Yeah.
we're going to do.
That's exactly the plan.
Yeah.
Just some quick fire ones. Steve Tarbuck, how many arrests in the ground last season against Villa?
Inside the ground, 6.
Blues.
Outside the ground, 6.
6.
44 in total after a post-match investigation.
Right. Okay.
That is significant. 44 arrests. That is a very lengthy and expensive post-match investigation.
Yeah.
With offences such as violent disorder, throwing
Yeah.
scaffolding poles being investigated. But it was a 6 and 6 inside and outside. Yes,
Yeah.
a number have been
A
in
number
court.
have been in court.
There's
and
still some
received.
going through courts now.
Yeah.
But you've got to understand that is a lengthy post-match investigation. With 44 people being dealt with.
Yeah.
As I say. Also, the other incidents, well documented, Clappergate from last season as well.
Yeah.
I've been reliably
Another
informed.
thing you can't be controlled.
No,
yeah.
another
Should we
thing.
say clap again?
Yeah.
Another thing I've been told will not be repeated this season.
No, I didn't think
That's
it
a good
would.
idea, yeah.
Kev Kelly says, I heard they found a rusty screwdriver with the initials NS on on the shaft that was brandished as a shank. It's all right. I actually turned up to Solihull Moors, watched one of the ladies' games with a screwdriver in it. But I did chuck it in the ditch before.
Any drones used this time?
We do have the drone teams on, and to be fair, that they are invaluable. It depends the silver. I had a silver commander for the West Brom game who didn't want the drones. He'd rather just do it pure silver without any footage. But then other silvers like to have that view, the overall view of the operation.
Yeah.
So, and I believe the silver who's working this game does like the drones. So
I
we
think the
probably
other
will
thing
see
is,
them.
in years gone by, you'd always said a police helicopter. A drone costs a fraction
Of the cost
Yeah.
the
of an
price of a
helicopter.
police helicopter.
Yeah.
There's a huge
Yeah.
difference in the cost of them. And I think with the drones, some of the footage from
Some of the
last
footage was very,
it's
very good.
excellent
Brilliant.
footage. It
What
really
market
is.
did you go
I believe it can't go over a certain item. I'm not too sure on the legislation.
There's some very strict, even for the police.
It can't.
You saw all the Heathrow, Gatwick stuff over Christmas. There's some very strict legislation, even for the police.
It can't go within half a mile of an area where there's 500 or more persons or something like that. So there's very strict criteria that they have to adhere to.
Liam Bolton says, does it mean Villa fans will be able to use Bordsley Station with Blues fans?
No. They'll be able to use Duddeston with no problems at all. But Bordsley, no.
Because when they come to the bottom of Kingston Road, Villa fans will be turned right back towards Mercedes-Benz Gallery, Big John's Island, that way. Don't get me wrong, if a couple of Villa fans want to hang around to catch that train and those restrictions are lifted after they can do. And there's nothing stopping Blues fans to hang around the ground for 10-15 minutes to get back to their car whilst you know what I mean. There's nothing like that at all. But let's say, how many Villa fans would go to Bordsley Station? Probably not very many, I'll be perfectly honest. But it'll be open as usual.
Liam Carroll, did police communicate with Morrison's for disabled patrons, etc., that upper left-hand side?
I haven't. I can do. That's a very good idea. I know last year we parked some police vans up on the retail park there. It's owned by a private parking company, as most of these retail parks are. I will happily make some inquiries in relation to whether they can allow parking. It's just how it's monitored on the day, because clearly the police aren't going to monitor, if you know what I mean. It won't be anything to do with the club either. It's just, you know what I mean. I think it's a great idea. I'll happily explore it. It's just how it's marshalled, stewarded, policed without being policed.
Perhaps one going forward then. Do you know the area of roads that are blocked off on the Coventry Road? What about giving disabled people access to that?
Well, interestingly enough, that's what they did for the Villa game. When Blues go to Villa, Trinity Road turns into a disabled parking area, doesn't it?
What we do is we park all the disabled fans down Trinity Road. Just home, because we refuse. The way we configure the ground, they don't have access to their normal parking areas. So we change it, allow them to park on Trinity Road, which gives them 2 minutes access into the stadium, which is a lot easier. And they always ask, can we do this all the time? It does take a lot of marshalling to get people in the right place without causing a danger to others.
I will happily speak to the parking company to see. Say it's just one of those, how it would be monitored on the day.
I'm thinking of this, it's just this one day. Elderly and disabled. How great would it be if they could put the cars in that sterile area?
I know a couple of those stores were empty for quite some time, but I know they do have strict guidelines on parking on a match day. Because you can imagine what would happen. It would turn into a football car park.
I think when you go in the car park and you come back on yourself.
On the left-hand side.
All those there's hardly any space.
That's where we parked some police vehicles last year. Leave that one with me. Very good idea. And I will feed back to you as soon as I can get an answer.
Martin Wood, I'm genuinely worried about taking my 5-year-old now. I wasn't, but now I am. We park at Dunelms and walk up past McDonald's and then do the opposite on the way back.
That'll be fine.
That'll be fine.
The Coventry Road will just be Birmingham.
Coventry.
After the game will just be Birmingham fans. Before the game will be mixed, but you know, you're getting in a couple of thousand Villa fans, that's all, who come in dribs and drabs. They don't come as one big 2,000. No. So at the end of the game, it will purely be Birmingham
and again,
fans.
why is that not a consideration? You must go by coach, you must be on an official coach and do.
Because
that's part of the ticket.
It is done at other grounds around the country. It's called a bubble match. But us in the West Midlands, what happens if somebody's from Worcester and they've got to come totally the wrong way, an extra 40 miles out the way to get on a coach, to have their tickets given them and then talk to the game? It's a breach of human rights.
We used to do for Cardiff and
Millwall. Or highly unlikely a Villa fan lives in Small Heath who wants to walk to the ground and he's got to get himself
to go all the way to Villa Park to come back.
Plus then,
serves him right.
Plus then, the police have to escort however many coaches, 2,000 fans, and that's a huge job to get them into the ground and get them out. I don't like ball fixtures. I never have. No. I know some 40 still years, and as Blade says, it's not a thing West Midlands police will ever do.
Yeah. Okay. Water in Whole Island is a joke on normal match days that needs sorting.
It is. They spend millions, as you know, on that junction. Two things.
It was
One,
us who requested the pedestrian crossing as well.
which people don't
Which
use.
it never gets used.
But yes, good people walk in and out of traffic. The other thing with traffic doesn't stop, if that makes sense.
yeah.
There's no road closure orders on a normal match day. Obviously, the road closure is Watering Hole Island.
Yeah.
Lordy Midway is one of the busiest roads connecting two parts of a city, sort of thing. Fans walking in and out of traffic, yes, it is a nightmare. I don't know what the solution is, but one plate, use the pedestrian crossing, at least you stand half a chance when the lights are in your favour.
Yeah.
But it's a problem, always has been, and the road configuration now hasn't changed at all, has
Hasn't
it?
helped.
No, it hasn't helped at all. No.
Just going off subject a moment. Evening all, could you announce that the skydive for Annie is on the 9th of June at 12:30? This is Paul Devlin's daughter, and there are 8 people leaping out at 13,000 feet. So any donations will be greatly appreciated. Keep your eyes peeled on the Skydive for Annie Facebook page. Cheers, guys. You could have been doing that. You could have been a Tilton Talk Trophy.
As I'm sitting here thinking about it now, I almost feel a little bit rueful of... No, I don't actually.
Yeah.
Something you're thinking of doing? Jumping out of a plane, 13,000 feet?
No. Don't like heights, I'm afraid.
Be a
Rolls
big
me out.
parachute for me.
We're glad you said it. Yeah, so if you can contribute, then please do.
Yeah.
Please do. For a great cause. Right, okay.
Mark Yates is in capital letters, so he's shouting. I won't shout. Why don't the police run diversions from the Watering Hole Island for that half hour after most games?
Yeah, we have to apply for a traffic management order, and the club already have a traffic management order in the main roads, the Coventry Road,
yeah.
and all the roads around it. And it's about minimising not only disruption to the local community, but people visiting Birmingham as well. So to block that road completely off with a TMO would be a considerable inconvenience to visitors to the city, to local residents, and I think that's the reason, really. It's the council who grant these, and if they believe it's just too far and too much, then they don't grant them. We're only asking...
Is it the cost of the club as well?
Well, you purchase one, but once you've got it, it's there, and then you can make amendments to it, which is a smaller admin charge. But to be fair, it's not about cost. It's about the inconvenience to everybody and the disruption to the wider city, really.
Yeah.
If you look at the road closure around Villa, they're all, when I say minor roads, you know what I mean. The Lordy Middleway is a dual carriageway in both directions, linking one side of a city from the motorway basically through to the other side of the city. It's an exceedingly busy road. As I said before, we know there's issues down at the island down there with people and with traffic. But as I say, I think
hopefully it'll be a bit better with us blocking it off to allow the gouges to go the wrong way.
and it'll be interesting to see what happens on that
So,
day with the traffic as well.
It's a great learning curve, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
First time
It
you've
is.
got it.
Yeah.
If it works well, then that's the plan.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, we'll go away.
Back
We'll
to the
take
drawing board.
we'll try something different.
But the simplest solution is don't lump each other over the head.
As I say,
Easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Should be. Craig Carlos Booker says, I will read exactly what he said. Will the Welsh Bullies be joining WMP this
No,
year?
we said this
not at
last
all.
time.
We said this.
Basically, for West Midlands Police, this is a huge resource-intensive operation. We cancelled rest days for about 500 police officers. Our numbers are dwindling. You know, police officer numbers are. We've also got to do everyday business. That everyday business is your local neighbourhood teams, your response to answer your 999 calls, and everything else that comes in as a call for service. So as I say, it's a cancelled rest day. Now, at times, we will struggle to put out enough officers. And that's when you go, that's called mutual aid, when you go to another force area to ask for police officers. Smaller forces do it on a regular basis. And West Midlands police officers, being second largest force, go elsewhere in the country quite regularly to make up the numbers elsewhere. We're lucky with the numbers we've got, which are dwindling, as I said. But as I say, that's the reason we do it. For this game this year, it is all West Midlands police.
And if
I've only ever known it that once.
Yeah, it was only the once. Last time we had Staffordshire. We try and we have a region, so we have Staffordshire, West Mercia, and Warwickshire, and we tend to go now to them, the local forces, rather because if we had a Welsh force come in, we've got to put them up in a hotel before the game. they have a long duty. They'll have to be put in a hotel after the game.
Yeah.
Whereas Staffordshire, it's half an hour down the road. So it just makes sense that we use a
But
regional force.
Again, like I said, if we could reduce the numbers,
Yeah. We
that wouldn't
have
even
to.
be a consideration.
Yeah.
Back onto the disabled issues again. Ask if St Andrews Street is open for disabled parking. Not bothered if it means we're waiting behind for a bit.
St Andrews Street hasn't been touched now. That was the original plan. St Andrews Street would be restricted.
The chap that referring to, he parks up by where the old back club shop used to be.
Yeah.
So that's
No.
open.
That's
Well, as far as I haven't seen any plans where we're restricting disabled parking in that
St
location.
Andrews Street.
so
No,
you should
again,
be all right there,
I'll
Steve.
check it because you've got to appreciate a lot of this parking is just where people have parked for years, if that makes sense. Rather than being designated areas. But again, my understanding of St Andrews Street now is it'll be open as usual.
It would have been an issue if we were going to stop fans
Yeah.
coming in at that point,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we could have had a crossover of the fans and the flow rates with the parking cars,
Yeah.
and the distance there would be greatly reduced and the flow rates would be reduced. So
'Cause you'd come further in.
But
Yeah,
as we're
yeah,
keeping it open and the flow now, I don't think it'll be
No,
such an
I
issue.
don't,
now.
I don't think there will
Yeah.
be such an issue. And St Andrews Street should be open as
Yeah.
normal in relation to the parking.
So have you got to come all the way up and then down the hill past the garage and then round
From
with the coaches? Or is there another entrance onto that dual carriageway?
But the only other entrance is to bring them straight down past the BP garage. So at the moment, when they come out of it, because all you've got to
Right to
remember, which
Kingston.
sounds silly, you really need to load passengers on the pavement side,
Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
And the school means the coaches are facing St Andrews Road, Kingston Road, towards
Yeah.
the Lawley middle
basically
way.
going the wrong way.
And they're getting
yeah.
on. It sounds silly. Health
Yeah.
and safety people might say it's
No,
gone
well,
mad,
listen, yeah,
but
one of
you're
that
getting
big
perhaps
squids
600-700 people
Yeah.
getting onto coaches
Yeah.
in the middle of the road if you're facing
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
way, or you've got to try and turn coaches around once they're loaded. Now you try and turn around 10, 12, how many coaches? It's not possible. So that's the other reason those coaches are being taken
Yeah.
out Kingston Road,
Yeah.
rather than the quicker way, which would be straight out to the
down
BP
St
garage
Andrews Road.
and come straight out onto the island.
Because onto Lawley Middleway we turn left, and then there's a cut back halfway
Yes, yeah,
through,
that's
and
the way- that's the way I
that's
would
the,
know.
Yes.
well, that's the way we wanted to take them out, but
Take
so
you
we've had to
35,
change.
40 minutes to get through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be a massive risk, I think.
Yeah.
But,
Really good advice from Craig Booker to Blues fans. Don't park at Dunelms, because if we do end up winning, there'll be a rush of Villa fans after the game.
that is classic.
Which has even made me chuckle a little bit.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love
A point you brought up just before we went live, Matt Wilkes, any thoughts on how the club can stop people throwing bottles, etc., on the pitch?
As I say, we discussed this briefly before we came on air. Clearly, I think the FA have issued a final warning. If you read between the lines of what the club put out
Yeah.
and everything like that. Obviously, we had bottles thrown out at the Brentford game, at the Bolton
Do you know
game.
what, I think of it like this, right? Irrespective of whether it's football or not, does it work? You wouldn't go into somebody else's place of employment and throw a bottle at them. Why do it on a football field?
You know, and I think at some point the FA clearly have to take a tough stance. And the Blues safety team reaction was to say no bottles on Saturday. And if you look on Saturday, there were no bottles thrown onto the pitch.
No.
Now, I think that's probably too early to judge. Let's be perfectly honest,
Yeah.
isn't it? However, I'm sure the safety team now are thinking, well, one game since we introduced it, and we've had no incident. Yes, I've read the complaints regarding the length of the queues of the kiosks and everything like that. But one, let's not throw bottles onto the pitch. Two, it's a criminal offence. And three, the club are getting into trouble. Where do the FA go next? They're on a final warning. There's probably two ways they can go, isn't there? Let's be honest.
To be fair, though, for the Blues game at Villa Park, Aston Villa decants everything. So everything,
Yeah.
we never serve in bottles. Everything's decanted, and there was a big apprehension to do that for the first time where we suggested it, because they said, "Oh, it'll reduce our costs.
Yeah.
It'll reduce the money that we take in. It'll increase time." What we found after it was sales went up.
Okay.
By decanting, the sales increased, so
Yeah.
we blew that argument straight out and made it safer for everybody. Really.
Well, as someone who was in the supervisor of the catering, there was a 2 or 3 year spell where, like you say, everything went into a bottle, a Coke cup, tops off lids and poured into the thing, and then it was just, I don't know whether it was the safety team or whatnot, but just one weekend it was, you're all right to give the bottles out now, but
it's one of those. This is the same. If people didn't throw bottles, we wouldn't be discussing it, would we?
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, if people didn't want to get involved in the disorder at the Blues Villa game, we wouldn't be talking about closing roads off and things like that. That's the bottom line of it. But I think it's far too early to judge in relation to what the Blues safety team decided to do in relation to serving of bottles, decanting. But for them at the moment, I'm sure they're thinking one game since that's gone out, and they had no bottles thrown at that game on Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't get the mentality of it, but there you go. Paul Gill, is there a reason the Villa fans can't have part of the GM upper and we get more of our own fans in the other half of the GM? Yes, there is a reason, because the only way out...
Turnstiles are opposite sides.
It's to the main stand, and then down the stairs.
That's just a configuration of the stadium with turnstiles at different
And what
sides.
you wouldn't want to do is put away fans above home fans or home fans above away fans.
No, it was just.
I think it was saying is away above away, and then the barrier, and then home above home.
It's the same as the Emmeline Street for going in. There's no turnstiles. There's no turnstiles to Upper Gilmerrick on the away side of the stadium. The stadium was built and designed with that to be the away stand or the away enclosure.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Quick round up on the ladies then, mister.
Yeah, so we've got a ridiculously long 5 week.
You can have a coffee and a biscuit now.
Between games now. Our last game was away at Brighton, which we went 1-0 up. And unfortunately it ended up losing 2-1. But yeah, there's a international break now with a friendly tournament over in America. So our next game now is 31st of March, which seems a ridiculously long way away. But that's just the way the season has panned out and the way the international calendar pans out. So like I said, disappointing to go out the FA Cup and then 3 days later go 1-0 up at Brighton and then end up losing. So they've got 5 weeks to dwell on 2 disappointing results. Hopefully they can do a fair bit of work in those 5 weeks. Get working with the new manager, understanding the way she wants to go about things. A few players will be missing. Ellen White and Lucy Staniforth are with England in the Sheba Lee's Cup in America. Harriet Scott's with Ireland and Hayley Ladd's with Wales, Chloe Arthur with Scotland. So there's a few players missing, but hopefully the bulk of the squad can get working with the gaffer.
This is a stupid question, I know it is, but is there a transfer window?
There is. It's gone.
Same?
No, it's not the same because the season's a little bit different. But there's one pre-season and then there's a mid-season one as well, similar to the men's side. But the dates are different. But so the window's closed at the moment. But
so that's finished now.
Yes, until the end of the season. And
of course, some major upgrades in the stadium as well in the pipeline.
Yeah, at Moors. So I think that's obviously there. They've had an influx of money into them, and they're hoping to get league football next season. Still in a very, very decent position in the National League, and if they get promoted to the league, they'll need to comply with EFL regulations, Football League regulations in terms of their grounds. So they're doing a bit, put a side stand up and things like that. So I think there's a few phases that they're trying to get sorted to comply with league football. Hopefully it will happen.
And a question that I was going to ask you, Dennis has just asked me to ask you: have West Midlands Police ever been involved in a women's match?
No.
You might need to when Man United come up next season.
And going back to the drinks now, then Mike Smith, I noticed this one. Maybe buy another drink because I seem to drink it quicker from a cup. Makes the club more money.
Possibly.
That's what we were saying. I
see what you're saying. Put the top back on. We'll have another swig in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Somebody just asked the same question as I did. You've seen that. Women's football do they have a transfer deadline day?
Yeah. So there is a deadline day as such. Yeah, it doesn't get quite the yellow gym white tie that the men's football does, but yeah, the levels of money are a little bit different. Yeah.
Ray Nash would like to say thank you to the two coppers for coming in and shedding some light on a lot of things and doing what they do. Thumbs up, fellas.
No, we're always happy. We're happy last time. We'll happily come in again. You may get bored of us, but we said it after the show last time. I don't think there's many police forces or football officers would put themselves up for something like this. They wouldn't.
No.
Let's be perfectly honest. They wouldn't at all. I've got no issue. Blade's got no issue at all. As I say, we'll come as often or as little as you'd like us to.
And we like it because what we can do is dispel myths and rumours. Get it from, like, I can't call you a horse, but the horse's mouth, you know what I mean? That'd be right rude on me, wouldn't it?
I think the other thing is we will take the ideas, like the one about Morrison's car park.
Yeah.
Great. I never even thought of it.
idea,
Great
yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
And, you know, other ideas happily will either take on board or say we can't do it for A, B, C and D.
But
well, listen, we
won't
won't just dismiss things, you know, and all we want is this to be a fixture which is talked about for the right reasons.
That's all I want.
Yes,
as a supporter.
exactly.
That's all I want.
It is.
I've got a meeting planned with the Aston Villa fans on Thursday, and part of that will be, this is what we're planning, but have you got any other ideas that we've missed, or is there anything? And we welcome, because fans who go there have been going there for the past 20 years. They may have a better plan. They may come up with something like a real gem for us, and we'll use it.
And like, you don't want them to be disheartened to think that there is nothing going on to stop the problems, and then they stop going, as we mentioned earlier.
Another thing is you don't hide behind anything. You know, you're on camera, you're on microphone, you're going out live as well, right? So what you say is what is.
Yeah, we haven't got a press officer with us.
I put it on Twitter
Not
earlier.
hiding in the back.
We answer
you with a stick. Stop you talking.
We answer everything open and transparent with as much honesty as me and Blade can do. We don't know the answer. I say I don't know the answer, but I say
we'll try and find the answer for you as soon as possible. That's it.
But we'll answer all the questions for you, and all those questions which people submit for you as well. We'll answer those.
Obviously, this doesn't relate to either of you. It's not your ground. Craig says when we were talking about home fans on top of away fans that we don't really want, he said they seem to be happy to let Wolves do it when Blues fans go to Wolves.
Yeah, to be fair, if it was left to me, it wouldn't. But they obviously risk assess it, and we saw what happened 2 seasons ago.
As
well, exactly. You know, many away fans.
My pet hate.
Yeah, many away fans will say what they've had thrown at them on top of them, etc. But like Blade says, it's a risk assessment for the ground, and they do it if you know. That's their choice.
We talked about the FA Cup semi-final against West Brom, where we had West Brom fans above Aston Villa fans in the lower north. We had 58 seats broken and thrown down onto Aston Villa fans. We had people urinating from the upper north stand onto Aston Villa fans below. That's not football.
No,
at all.
No, a bit of banter. I don't mind that, but that's as far as I'll go.
Oh, got me down this look.
Interjection.
Okay, so this is on Twitter. You probably saw this earlier on Twitter. Aidan says, why do we have to cut the ground capacity by so much when Villa Park is more or less full capacity? It just doesn't seem fair when we have to shut off nearly 5,000 seats.
It's not 5,000 seats. I spoke to the safety officer about this. The capacity at St Andrews is approximately 29,500, there or thereabouts. Don't get me wrong, I haven't counted every seat. That's what I've been told. For this year's game against Villa, normally they set the divide at 4,200 seats in the away end, and Villa would have 2,100. So basically, you've got the same number of seats again, empty.
Right.
This year, the club safety team have decided to move that from 4,200 to 2,800. So you've only got 700 empty seats in there, if that makes sense. So those additional seats have been freed up for Blues fans, which have clearly been sold, if you know what I mean. The other thing the safety team decided to do is to block off the front 2 rows of the Tilton Road.
Just the Tilton.
Just the Tilton is my understanding.
So the Ray Harborough main stand is free.
No, it was the Cop. I'm sure it was the Cop last season. Did they block off the front? Couple of rows in the Cop last
I think
season?
towards the Villa fans they did.
Okay.
Again, don't quote me. It was all the way around.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
I wouldn't know, but I say it is the front 2 rows of a Tilton, and I think that's the thought of in relation to pitch encroachment. Whether people agree or not, that's one of those things. The other thing is, Blade explained it really well last time we were here regarding the problems Villa got into after that West Bromwich.
Yeah, the semi-final.
Yeah, the amount of money Villa got fined. Clubs have to be shown to be doing some sort of almost mitigation. So if something does go wrong, they can say, well, we did A, B, C and D to try and mitigate it.
Yeah.
And I think Villa found that to their cost, didn't they?
Yeah.
Was it 200,000?
£250,000 they were fined.
Because the FA deemed that they hadn't mitigated
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. And there was threats of points deductions and everything,
Right.
elimination from the cup and everything. Those threats were made at the time.
Right.
So
And that's made a huge impact, not just on Villa, but I think teams all around the country, and especially Blues for this game. It's the highest risk game for the club as well, not just for the police.
Yeah.
450 stewards on duty that day.
didn't we have on the quarter final as well? Blues versus Villa. We had police officers round the edge of the pitch, and still people came on. You can put 400 people round the edge of a pitch and still not able to stop them, because
But
if they
from
want
a
to get
club's
on,
perspective, if you've done everything you possibly can,
that's right. Yeah,
And I understand the fans' frustration, saying there's this many seats, but they've got to see it from the club side as well. And this is the same as the
Don't
bottle.
get me wrong, the club would prefer not to have those.
of course, they would.
Of course they would.
If
That-
they
sale.
they'd 30 quid a ticket,
yeah.
They'd much rather sell them. But
yeah, but as I say, it's a
100%.
safety thing.
So if you ran on the pitch way back in 2011, then here's the reasons why.
It's the safety officer takes that decision. He does his risk assessment. But as I say, when that letter lands from the FA, that they can then try and mitigate by saying, well, we did A, B, C and D. You know what I mean? We've done as much as we can. And a lot of it stems from that Villa Albion FA Cup quarter final.
Yeah.
And Robert Wilson, I'm going to end this once and for all. So he says, so what about when the VAR fans smash the toilets and the seats, and yet you still give them loads of tickets? West Midlands Police do not allocate or tell anybody how many tickets are going on sale for away supporters. It is the 2 clubs. That is the last time we're going to say
The
it.
day after the fixtures are released.
So.
And the last 2 times that Aston Villa have been at Blues, there's been no damage to the toilets whatsoever.
Jay Raisey, decent coppers, not many of them about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's one fan
You
you
think?
We'll pay him later.
What was that? Says anybody know the reason why they've stopped announcing the opposition before the game?
Oh, I noticed that at Blackburn. Yeah, I thought it was a timing issue. They didn't announce the Bolton team.
Oh, right, okay.
You know when he reads the team out at the
Yeah,
start,
yeah.
he didn't announce the Bolton team on the Tuesday night. But I thought it was just a timing issue because we were getting a bit close. And then on Saturday, he didn't read the Blackburn team out either. Yeah, I did notice that. I don't know why.
Home
Don't know
fans
if
don't
that-
get to shout who.
Yeah, they obviously still do.
We're going to have to blame you.
We'll see if they
Blame the police for that one
Blame
as
you,
well.
Paranico.
We'll see if they do it for the Villa team on the Sunday. Mike Smith says, which is something for me as well because I'll be getting the train. Will there be police presence along the main road or route towards New Street, which many Blues fans will walk after the game?
Digbeth should only see Blues fans.
Okay.
Villa fans shouldn't really get anywhere near Digbeth.
Not at all.
Because they'll go down Kingston Road on Dilawdy Middle Way and go up back towards
That's
Goodison train station way.
Yeah.
You may get a few Villa fans who perhaps park that way and wait for the various restrictions to be lifted. But if you think back to that League Cup all those years ago, if you know what I mean, with hundreds of Villa fans walking through Digbeth, that shouldn't happen.
Okay,
and that's one of the reasons. The pubs in Digbeth, they're all Blues pubs. They'll be full of Blues fans on that day.
Yeah.
That is a huge flashpoint for us, and one with the plan it negates Digbeth.
Yeah.
But in the end, yes, there will be police officers in Digbeth,
Okay, there you go.
but there shouldn't be many Villa
Jess
fans.
McDonald, massive congratulations to Martin O'Connor and his job at Warsaw. Yeah, absolutely
Oh, yeah.
wonderful news. And of course, Warsaw winning over the weekend as well. So
That was a big win for them,
probably a
actually.
massive win, wasn't it? Yeah.
Somebody asked earlier which teams you both support, and Craig Booker says Blade is definitely vile through and through.
Don't upset him.
He's not.
Well, unfortunately,
That's not true, is it?
No, I'm a dingle.
Yes.
It's no secret.
Yeah.
Steve Portman having the views from the fans affected by the previous V6 problems for disabled fans made this year so much better. Well done for those who took notice.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, we do listen.
We do listen.
You've got to understand, we've all been around the country. Some of the sort of facilities for disabled fans are utterly awful, aren't they? Let's be perfectly honest.
Villa
They
aren't
really
the best,
are.
are they? They put away disabled fans in with the home fans.
Yeah.
And so when the away fans want to celebrate their own goals,
Yeah, of course.
and then they take abuse from home fans.
Yeah.
It's not fair at all. It
And
really
Jez wants
isn't.
to know, do Colin and Blade go and see how other derbies are policed?
We don't get chance, to be fair.
No.
I have been told to go up to the Celtic one just to see how their safe standing area goes.
Okay, yeah.
But, I
So
haven't
that's
had
another
chance.
one that gets thrown about a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
How come we can only have 2,000 tickets when Celtic Rangers is 55,000?
Well, it's
750.
750. I said
750.
750 this season.
Yeah.
I've cut it to. For they play twice, don't
Both
they? Home
sets,
and away.
yeah. So both sets of away fans will only get
750
750.
Yeah.
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 That's what they've done up there.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I wouldn't have an issue going to see how another derby's policed
No,
at all.
no.
It's fine with
Quite
Tom.
happy.
To be fair, our senior officers and senior managers do go up because to see how the policing
Yeah.
styles work elsewhere. It's like, if ever I was invited to go, I'd now say to a Sheffield derby
Yeah.
or one of the derbies down in London, I'd have no issue with
No,
it. It's
I'd
just finding the time. You've got to remember, we work every Saturday as it is.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, Tuesdays,
Yeah.
Wednesdays, whatever.
We cover each other's games as well.
yeah.
So I mean, if one of us is off, one of us. I mean, I'm going to Huddersfield tomorrow.
Okay.
So we all cover each other's games really.
Yeah. Lindsay Phillips, wasn't it Brentford on Saturday, not Blackburn with
No.
two smiley faces? No, it
No,
was
it
Blackburn
wasn't.
with three
It was-
smiley
it
faces.
was actually Blackburn.
Blackburn. And-
Something that I thought of, sorry Nick.
Yeah, you're
something
right.
I thought of after the last show, and it's looking unlikely now, but let's just say both clubs go on a ridiculous run and we end up in the playoff final
Yeah.
together at Wembley.
Okay.
How are we even contemplating of getting our heads around that?
I think the other
It's
thing,
a net problem.
over to them. I think the other thing is a two-legged playoff semi-final would
Yeah,
probably
it
be the
would.
first issue to look at,
Yeah.
which would be two games, and then clearly that wouldn't happen at final.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
And chances are, if it's a playoff, if it's a two-leg semi, then one of them's going to be on the
One's
night as well.
midweek, and one's a weekend, and
Yeah.
one's midweek. But the weekend fixtures, you know, can be any time. Let's be
Yeah.
perfectly honest. They do the late
Yeah,
Saturday
that's
kick
true,
off
yeah.
everything, and then it's either a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night the
Yeah,
following
yeah.
week, isn't it?
We
So
did
one of those
have, we
would be
did have a
midweek.
bit of a discussion about the final, and we said one would have to take the M1, one would have to take M40, one would have to probably use New Street, one would have to probably use Moore Street,
Right.
but
again-
then we'd have to cover every single
again-
motorway services all the way down
Yeah,
to the
You're
net.
looking at human rights. Aren't you?
Yeah,
You are,
yeah.
you are.
But what
Not
we'd
that I
ask,
agree. I'm
what we'd
not.
say is, we'd
Tell me
go
on what
to
motorway
the
I'm
train
on it.
companies and say, "Can you do a deal for Aston Villa fans
Yes.
on your train company?"
Okay, from
and then
this
you go,
station,
and then you go to Blues and say, "Can you do a deal?" So when people buy tickets, they get a special deal with a train.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that.
Which would
But
accommodate
otherwise,
that,
yeah,
yeah.
they
Yeah,
would be
logistical
allowed to go
nightmare.
It
everywhere.
would be an interesting day.
Once they're in London, you're done with it.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's one
You've
of
both
those.
gone grey thinking about it.
Yeah, I've lost it.
the Met would have kittens, wouldn't
Yeah.
they? They
Oh, yeah.
really
But
would.
I think the other thing
Yeah.
with the Met is, I think we touched on it last time. The Met just throw resources. They've got the resources. They
Yeah.
just throw resources. Look at some of their London derbies. You know, they hold and
Yeah.
and other games they hold. They just throw resources. But don't get me wrong, they'd have to throw an awful lot of resources
Yeah.
on a Blues Villa. You know,
In a game that meant so much
yes,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't cancel why are the Blues health and safety team able to ban a supporter moment away games for an incident at St Andrews when he was found not guilty. Not by the police, but he was found not guilty by the courts, and that is an issue that he has to take up with Birmingham City's health and
Yeah,
safety
it is.
people. It's
It
just
is.
simply nothing to do
Club
with you
bans
guys.
are issued by the football
Yeah.
club. As say whether the police take action or not, whether that person's found guilty, not guilty,
Yeah.
whether they're charged or not charged, whatever then goes back to the club. It's up to the
It's
club
like a
what
pub like
sanctions they do.
landlord, isn't it?
You
Yeah,
know,
they're the private.
Yeah.
It's a private company. It's up to them who they ban.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Last 15 minutes. Should we do a word association today? Well, yeah.
I won't be responding.
I know you won't be responding.
Because that's the decision I have made. And
Anything to do with footballers and biscuits? Right, off you go. Off you go. Right, quick questions then. Do the police advise the stewards, or are they a separate entity?
To be fair, I did a training session for stewards with the club about 2 weeks ago for Aston Villa stewards, and just give them some pointers on searching, give them a bit of an insight into what we do as football officers and spotters on a match day, because most people don't know that football officers can't eject from a stadium, and stewards don't even know that, so they'll be looking at you as if to say, you get him out? Well, we can't.
yeah,
Okay, because that's not in the lawful execution of our duty.
yeah,
Stewards eject, we arrest.
okay.
And for them to understand that
So,
and that
what if you have to
relationship.
make an arrest inside the stadium?
Yeah, we can make an arrest inside the stadium, generally to prevent a breach of the peace.
Right.
Once we get
Or
outside,
if a crime's been
So if that's
committed?
not
yeah,
breach invasion,
or a
Yes.
crime's been
Yeah.
committed. In respect to breach of the peace, if we're outside the stadium and we deem there's no longer a breach of the peace, we've removed him away from the threat, we can then de-arrest and release them.
Right.
If it's an offence for which needs investigating, pitch encroachment, throwing a missile or anything like that, we would then take them through to the custody suite where prisoner handlers would deal with them for that offence.
Gotcha. Did the police investigate after the K2 stewards assaulted fans a few games ago?
At the Albion game, yes, it was all investigated. I can't remember whether it came on before or after that incident, to
Don't
be
know.
fair. However, there was a meeting held at the club between the police, K2, club safety team, fans from Block 4 and other fans in that area. Amanda Jacks attended from the Football Supporters Federation. And I've got to say, the behaviour of the fans in Block 4 is hugely improved. But at the same time, I think what's also helped the whole situation is the way Birmingham City are now deploying stewards in that area. They've withdrawn the K2 stewards from the area and are now deploying their own stewards. They've got about 100 of their own stewards, if that makes sense.
Yes.
On a match day, the rest of the stewards come from K2
Yeah.
security.
But they're in different areas.
They're in different areas, and they're now deploying their own stewards. But as I say, Block 4 issues are almost non-existent now.
Yeah.
Cal said, thanks for answering that, guys. Reference the lad who'd not been found not guilty. Thanks for answering that, guys. Are the club allowed to ban a fan from visiting other clubs' stadiums, though?
That's a difficult one because they can prevent them buying tickets to visit that club. But if that person was to purchase a ticket in
the home end. Or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah. So they've been.
Penny Wood says.
Oh, yes, I'm just going to do that one.
Oh, well, yeah.
Don't worry, you
Sorry
go.
for stealing your thunder.
Pennywood as well.
Oh, beg your pardon.
Oh,
Talk about Pennywood.
Pennywood is in the news. With their issues going on at the moment, would there be any police objection to letting Coventry share our ground on the off chance that that's a way that they can get around their troubles?
From a policing point of view, none
No, not
none
really.
whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
Don't get me wrong, it wouldn't be my question to answer. It wouldn't be Blade,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They wouldn't want to share villas, would they?
But if you look, we don't police many games at Coventry at all.
Yeah.
I don't know how ground sharing works,
Yeah.
you know, and the rules around it. But from a policing point
I
of view, it's
believe
down to me or you.
the AFL are saying they can't go outside the city, so I don't know what
Oh,
their
right.
problem's going to be.
So the AFL have sent them a letter demanding to know where they're going to play, but they've got lots of
Yeah,
rules
right.
on where they can and can't play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sergio Rio? Pat Nice?
Oh, I missed that one. Can we have the draw, please?
Yes,
We can have the draw.
Yeah, help yourself. I'll keep looking through these.
Apologies.
Harry Flapjack.
Go on, Cole, you pick the winner.
There we go.
Excuse me.
Lindsay Phillips.
Lindsay Phillips. Oh.
A popular winner,
Popular
I'm sure.
wench. Popular woman.
Oh.
Lindsay Phillips, well done. Bag of goodies will be on its way to
And a
you.
second time winner.
Well done, Lindsay.
Can I
Gary
say-
Baldy Birtles. Gary Baldy Birtles.
She owes Colin a drink there.
Can I just say, Penny Wood, she tries sharing every week,
Yeah.
and she can't do it, bless her. So I'm going to send her a little prize as well.
Okay.
Oh,
'Cause that's
you
the type of guy I
are
am.
too good.
That's the type of guy I am.
She lives at my way. Do you want me to drop it in?
I just live by you.
Not well, sort of 12 mile away-ish.
Oh, right, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think it's yeah.
Okay, well, I think of size and stuff, so.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Okay.
Tonight's winner, Lindsay Phillips, asks, is there an age restriction on searching, i.e. kids at all grounds, or is it down to each ground's rules, please? And if kids can be searched, should the parent be told first? Thanks.
Searching juveniles is a big issue. Should the parent be informed straight away if they've been searched? Have they been searched by an SIA trained individual? It is a real issue. I'm not too sure on the legislation because it's covered by stewarding and searching. I don't know if it's 13. 13 rings a bell with me, but I'm not too sure.
Right.
But I will find out for you, and I will get you that information, and we'll
But
make
how
sure
responsible would a parent be if you were to give your under 13-year-old a smoke bomb?
Well, some do.
You
Depends how
know,
much you want to get that smoke bomb in the ground.
yeah.
We've seen
Roller?
children sneaking them in Toblerone
Really?
tubes. Yeah.
But it is, Blake, it's a huge issue in relation to searching of juveniles.
Yeah.
It's things clubs discuss all the
Yeah,
time as
yeah.
well. And you see a lot of complaints on Twitter and things like that about,
Yeah.
my child was searched and
Yeah.
things like that.
But I think Lindsay just said if that was the club's, ethos that they were going to search it, maybe put it out on Twitter, put it on their website saying, just to let all away fans know that all under 18s will be searched regardless.
Peter Crunch. You carry on with the sensible stuff.
I'm trying to find one.
Peter Hobnobby Styles.
I quite like that one.
Will searching at Blues be better versus Villa? The standard of searching is poor, and I'm not suggesting Mike Smith does, but he says you can easily smuggle anything in, especially in women's bags.
Do you know what's funny about that question? That the majority of stewards who work at Blues also work at Villa on the other week.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
Same with the catering.
So
yeah.
So there is a crossover of stewards. So it's
yeah.
the same stewarding,
Yeah.
the same stewarding techniques, and the same searching techniques.
And you've got to remember, searching is done by stewards.
Yeah.
It's not done by police officers.
No.
I'll happily pass that back to the safety team, saying fans are saying that the searching is particularly good. But I bet you've got other fans on the other side probably saying the searching's completely over the top.
This is my search.
But yeah,
Go on.
yeah.
Well, we saw the video of the magnetic hand steward, didn't we? Who never touched anybody. That was Tottenham, wasn't it?
But I'll pass it back to the safety team.
Yeah.
You've got to also remember, searching has increased over recent years because of what's happening around the world. And it takes a long time to search 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. And
Well, to be fair, we've got to see a sea change. People like to get to the ground 30 minutes before kick-off. The problem is, if we implemented from now, everybody's going to be subject to a proper search. I guarantee people wouldn't get in. You're going to have to get in an hour. You'd probably be late for the first 3 matches, but after that, you might learn your lesson and try and get there early because you know.
Difficult one to broach. Jamie Kane, Malted McMinn milk.
Right, search for sensible.
Declan Nice.
I've got no problem with my kids being searched. It will teach them not to even think about taking anything in, as they could miss going to the match.
So that's a responsible parent, isn't it?
It's his brother.
Right, okay.
I'm not really sure.
No.
Searching fans came up when there were terror alerts running around, but surely we can scale it back now, says Mark.
The terror threat hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look...
Hence, is that was part of the road closure? Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's why the road
closures
closure
going.
The terror alert has not changed.
We've been at severe for the last 4 years, is it?
Yeah,
Constantly.
It's not going to go away, is it? And I'd like to think being searched if it takes 30 seconds a minute, you understand the reasons why you're being searched.
Yeah, rather than that than the...
Yeah.
Top mates.
It's been asked a couple of times now. How did they get a cabbage in?
Right.
This is all your fault.
Yeah, to be fair,
Steve Bruce lost his job because of
he did, and to be fair, the cabbage was brought in a bag, and I can only believe that the person who brought the cabbage in quite freely offered it up, but the steward didn't think it was a prohibited article, so let it in, because who would think that you were going to go and roll a cabbage in front of Steve Bruce?
Yeah.
I mean, I did laugh, I must admit. I
So,
must admit.
yeah.
Just for the sheer trickery of it, you know what I mean? But, look, nobody was injured during Cabbagegate, which is that's the good thing. And it was, I think it was just rolled across the floor, wasn't it?
Well, it basically it was emptied from a bag into a hand, and then instead of catching it, he's dropped it, and it's just rolled in front of him. So,
Ray says some of us like to get to bar 8 2 hours before kick-off. Yeah.
My search was that poor, I thought I was having a shoulder massage. That's Robert Doyle. Nice one, mate. Nice one. Where's the time gone again? Look at that, hour and a half's almost gone. Flapjack Buckland.
that's a good one.
You like that one?
I like that one.
We haven't even spoke about the EFL.
I know. Danny Fox's crunch creams.
Come on, last 5 minutes on the EFL.
The EFL! You disgust me! You horrible individuals! How can they possibly allow that to happen?
It's a very interesting
down.
approach to take, considering we don't know who the person is. It's
Somebody on their side, apparently.
It was, well, I'm led to believe it's someone from the EFL, someone from Blues, and an independent, somebody independent from both parties. Now, I'm not being funny, if you've got someone from the EFL and someone from Blues, then they are going to have vested interest, aren't they? So it's not going to come up a week before the event that somebody from Blues has an ulterior motive to do with the thing. So you can only
Well, it wouldn't be.
you can only think that it's the independent party who has a mutual interest, because you've obviously got a mutual interest if you're there on behalf of the EFL or if you're there on behalf of Blues. Now, you don't know if it's Blues who are trying to delay it. It could well be Blues that are trying to delay it.
Can't see why.
But it could be that there's a week to go before the meeting, and they think I want 3 more weeks working with my lawyers to see if we can get out of this. So we'll find something in this independent person that means they can't go on it, and then you've now got 3 more weeks to work with your lawyers on the case again. We don't know what the situation is, and that's the problem, because everybody's so dismayed at the state of it, because we don't know where we are. That's the problem. We're 8th, 9th in the table. Still, not a really realistic chance. But if we win the next 4 games, still in with a shout of playoffs, and it could all be taken away from us.
Wife a representative from the EFL was a Villa fan.
Well, but you joke about it, but maybe that's why they've looked at it. I mean,
But surely
I'm not being funny. The guy who works for Villa now, Christian Purslow, was on the 3 or 4 man panel who invented FFP, who came up with the rules and regulations of FFP. So we don't know what situation, which party has had to drop out, and which relegation fight.
Jamie says it was Jasper Carrot. EFL and discussing biscuits can't be bad, can it? Jamie Dodger Redknapp. Quite like that one. EFL Hobnobs. I don't know. I think it's just the fact that it's lingering so long. Like, it's 9 months now, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the frustration for the fans, and I'm sure it's the frustration for Gary Monk and the players as well, because they're going out every week, slugging their guts out for the shirt and for the fans, and trying to pick up points, and they don't know whether these points mean closer to playoffs or it doesn't matter whatsoever, and we'll be fighting relegation despite what they've done on the pitch.
Yeah, okay.
But it's frustrating.
Tell me about it. It really is.
But it's 9 o'clock,
scenario's making me out.
and we will lose tomorrow night, and we'll beat Hull on Saturday.
Okay,
because we haven't even discussed those.
Very quickly.
I think they're really strong. They're strong at home. I'll say 2-0 Bristol City.
2-2.
2-1 Blues.
2-1 Blues.
Oh,
don't know.
Huddersfield Wolves.
Huddersfield Wolves. Wolves win 2-0.
2-0.
There you go.
Mrs. Brown. 2-0. Saturday.
Hull, 3-1 Blues.
I'll go 2-1.
We'll beat them.
Yeah, 1-0. North away, double for away.
Oh, lovely.
The Wolves got Saturday.
Cardiff at home.
Cardiff at
Another
home.
easy 3 points.
Well, it's a
That's
difficult
another
game.
walkover. That
Difficult
is.
game. We never did well against teams that kick you off the park.
Come on.
I'd probably go for a loss, to be fair.
Oh no! I can't have that man staying in the Premier League another minute longer. I actually hope you do.
Well, this has just gone so fast again, gents. Thanks ever so much for coming in. We've got loads of subjects to talk about tonight.
No problem,
Really-
Tom.
Actually, I'm looking forward to seeing if this traffic management thing works.
So away.
Because if it does, it's the solution, isn't it? It's a great
Yeah,
solution.
yeah.
44 arrests last season.
Keep it up, people.
Let's see. Well, no, keep it down.
No.
Yeah. Level of arrests. But you know, 44 arrests a game can't continue. So let's hope it calms those measures down. Yeah.
Well, I think you've done all you can to like I said, mitigate it. So
Yeah,
let's
I'm happy to
just
come
keep
back and discuss it afterwards.
Absolutely,
Take the
please do,
viewpoint.
yeah,
It's got
yeah,
no issue with that at
And
all.
please, just please behave yourselves. It's so easy.
We'd like to hear people's feedback about it as well.
Yeah.
So.
It's a
Yeah.
Sunday. It's a game of football. Yeah. And like, these guys want to do. They want to reduce the police. They don't. Send the police up and down the street just because of a football game. Stupid, silly. Spread the love. Sprinkle some glitter. As long as it's blue and white glitter. Well, this has been the Talk Show. It's an absolute pleasure to have you gentlemen on again. Thanks
Thank
ever
you.
so much.
Thank you
indeed.
for having us.
Colin and Blade, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. You both have the clap off the Talk Show. Mr. Fun, thank you, Mr. Fun.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Brown. And for all good self, good night. See you next Monday. Come on, Blues.
Following the blues, we love you, what more can we say? We are the lads from Tilton, we'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy, following the blues, we love you, what more can we say? We are the lads from
Tilton Talk Show. Your views, your opinions, by the fans, for the fans. Tilton Talk Show.